Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hey,
I
everybody.
think so. I think we're on.
I muted you cats. Yeah, we're live. Welcome, everybody.
What's going on?
What do you say? How is doing? What did you say?
How's going? What is doing?
There it is. There it is. My
How is
favorite.
going? What is doing?
My
anyway?
favorite Indian impression from my
Hello?
favorite Indian man. We've been joined by an internet baby.
Which one? Me or Dex?
Mr. B. I'm putting up the no, not me or Dex. Mr. B. I'm putting it up on the screen.
We were your internet babies. Okay, fine.
No, look, you're my. That's a different kind of internet baby.
Hey, wow. Whoa.
Okay. I said in the comments, welcome, let us know where you're coming from. And this guy said your mom's house.
Coming from your mom's house.
How dare you?
Horrible. Horrible.
What a terrible human being. Well, welcome, Mad T. Duran, if that's your real name.
That is his real name.
It's his internet name. How am I doing? Well, I woke up cranky this morning. I should have just let her sleep.
Wow.
Dude, that is some old school dad humor that you just don't hear anymore. That was powerful. I should have just let her sleep. Wow. Phenomenal. Well, welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to do a lean mean. I say lean mean. 3 hours later, Dex is going to be taking questions about the Ichimoku cloud. A lean and mean live trading education event today from your best friends on the internet at pulsewavetrading.com. And, of course, Be the Gorilla from Rogue News.
Yo.
And I've got my main man, Dex the Algo Capitalist, Dex the Vulcan, Dex the Dude.
Whatever.
No, Dex, we're not having low energy Dex today. It's in your contract every Friday. You have to talk fast and high pitched.
All right. So which version do you want?
I want happy, excited Dex.
I like the high pitched version personally.
So you don't like ER Dex?
No ER Dex today.
Okay. How about Squidward Dex?
I like Squidward Dex. That's a good one. We can go with that. Let's run with it.
What's Squidward Dex? I never watched.
Can we hairpin go already?
Oh, this is Squidward Dex.
Now he's.
I should have known it. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll start.
Just get it over with.
Oh, you're the. The thing is, people know that you're like 20% serious.
He's only 20% human.
Yeah, 20% serious, 20% human, 60% walking robot algo. He's like the queen. He's one of those robotoids.
Whoa.
We had no idea that there was a robotoid in our midst.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. B wants the generous version. He is a generous dude. So V is alive and Dex is feeding V a banana. It's possible. I don't want to picture it because that's a terrifying thought.
That's kind of terrifying.
I want to scrub my brain now. Well, so let's get started. First,
talking to his robot wife. That's all.
What?
That's about it. It would be like Plankton talking to his robot wife.
Plankton.
We're not catching the reference. You just laughed.
SpongeBob.
Right, I apologize.
I
never watched. I legitimately never watched SpongeBob. I missed that.
One of the greatest shows ever made.
One of the funniest shows ever.
Is it? Yeah. It always kind of
laugh out loud every episode.
Should my family watch it as a family?
Yes.
You both said yes so simultaneously.
It's a cartoon. You can't go wrong.
See, when you guys,
not an adult cartoon, it's a family cartoon.
It is? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll watch it then.
Yep.
Rosie and Frankie will. Do you guys ever hear of Uncle Grandpa?
Nope.
Oh, okay. No. Then I won't continue the story. But it's kind of a gross out kind of cartoon.
Then I don't want to hear it because I'll be eating lunch soon.
All of a sudden, my son started saying "Good morning" all the time, and we were like, "What's wrong with him?" And he was kind of young, you know. And my son's a quirky guy. You know, he's really funny, as you guys know. He's got a really distinct personality, and so he kept coming in the room going, "Good morning." Good morning. And we were like, why are you doing that? And then one day he's watching TV and I walk in the room and this show comes on and the intro is like this crazy looking guy going, good morning. Good morning. I'm like, oh, and then like that was it. Like from that point on, we knew that his whole personality had shifted because of Uncle Grandpa, which is a scary thing for anybody who's watched it. All right, hey, let's get started. Cats, my main dudes. So we're going to talk about how to profit from volatility today using the pulse wave price triggers. Here's the thing, folks. Like literally 20% of the room gets killed just trading every day. Like things fall on their heads. People, they veer off. No, I'm kidding. Nobody gets hurt. But trading is dangerous. And so this is our general advice disclosure. You need to read it. You need to commit it to memory. You need to set it to music and sing it to your children when you put them to bed at night, because we mean it. And Dex, I've heard you say once or twice that trading is risky.
It's extremely risky because you can lose more than what's in your account, and it should not be entered into lightly. And because we trade pretty much every vehicle known to man, a lot of those vehicles have an enormous amount of volatility built into them and leverage. You can read more about our risk disclosure on our website,
pulsewavetrading.com. Also, always use risk capital. Risk capital. That is money you don't need. It's money you don't need. It's funny money.
But
it's not your rent.
You lose your lunch trading, Dex? That's the question I want to know.
Well, here it is. The Wall Street definition is money set aside for investment purposes.
Nice. I love it.
So you can lose your lunch.
So let's talk about this.
And
how to profit from volatility. I've got some pretty slides today. I don't know if they would live up to Kung Fu's standards, which I constantly live in fear of the criticism he'll make of the images I make. So how to profit from volatility is our topic today using the pulse wave trading system. So let me pull up my notes, because I do have some notes, don't I?
You always have notes.
The scary part is when you pull up your notes and there's not really anything in them. You say, didn't I prepare for this? And then you realize all you really have is your slides. All right, here we go. In this live educational event, which, by the way, if you go to pulsewavetrading.com and click on Join Now, you'll get a free account with us, and you'll be able to watch all of our previous and future live educational events right there. There's a nice feed for you. You can scroll through them. It's a free account. Takes you 2 seconds. Just put your email in there, and it'll open you up to your own free dashboard, and you could watch all of our live trading educational events. So in this live educational event, you will learn how to filter out the noise and choose trades, which is harder than it sounds. What should you trade? When should you trade it? How should you trade it? One thing Dex and I have talked about many times is your trading education can cost you a fortune in 2 ways. One, people will charge you a fortune for a trading education. That's the first way that it'll cost you a fortune. Second, and that's what a lot of trading services are. They just upsell you on classes so you could become Dex someday when you're all grown up. And for most of you, that'll be a waste of time and a huge waste of money. The other part of your trading education is you make bad choices and lose a ton of money. And for most people, that'll be catastrophic. They'll never bounce back from it. Whatever they had set aside for risk capital gets lost. They go into debt. It's a nightmare. So learning what to trade and when is huge. You're also going to learn how to place a trade using the price triggers. We'll show you.
You missed one.
What's that?
Even if you do everything right, you could still lose money on a trade.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has to be said. We'll talk about how to increase your probability of success. We'll get some tips from Dex, who's 20 plus years trading full time as a pro trader. And then we'll talk about how to use the POP method to manage active trades. We'll talk a little bit about it. POP method is one of the most important tools that we have at Pulse Wave Trading. So let's dig into this a little bit more. How to profit from volatility. First off, filter out the noise and choose the best trades. I'm going to do something that makes Dex very uncomfortable. I'm going to pull up a still active. You guys see my screen nice and clear? I'm going to pull up a still active. I'm going to do Forex because it's a quick sheet. I won't be very zoomed in on it. I should have pulled it up before. But one of the things we do, I talked earlier about how people charge you for education. At Pulse Wave Trading, we have a course that we run you through. It takes less than 2 hours. You do it in your own time, and you get access to it as a member. See, it's too small. They can't even see them, Dex. See?
Not a problem.
These are tradable. So many of these have not been triggered. In fact, we're going to do one live right here today. But you can see you have buy triggers, you have your sell trigger, and then you have your rally, crash, and trend momentum. And over here, you have your instrument name. And so you get and these are tradable. You can when you're a member of Pulse Wave Trading, we teach you very quickly how to take this and turn it into real orders that can then turn into live trades, and we show you how to manage them. And so a few of the things that we do. What point are we on here? How to filter out the noise and choose the best trades.
Mm-hmm.
So we teach our members 4 ways on how to choose trades, and I forget the exact outline that I use for that. One of them is you can filter through and actually look for things very quickly. You could take a report. Now this one's a short one, but you can take a report and find out what is likely to rally today. And we've got the dollar yen is likely to rally. Did it? We don't know. Actually, it has a rally alert, but its trend momentum is very bearish. And so even with that rally alert, you want to be very careful. And if it seems like I just did magic for you by saying that, because Frank's not a pro trader, he's just like the guy who runs the website and stuff. How does Frank know all that? Well, our rally alert told me right away that there's a rally alert for the day. There was no crash alert. And it told me that it is in a bear market, so I better be careful despite the fact that it had that rally alert. Very quick, easy to analyze, easy to decide. But then the question becomes, well, so that's one way to filter those trades. And then you got to figure out, well, where should I enter this trade? And should I go long, should I go short? Well, for that, we've got buy triggers and sell triggers. If you're not sure, you can place orders using both. Now, that's one very quick way. A lot of people like to filter through the pulse waves that way. The thing is, you've got a lot of choices in each one of these reports, these beautiful reports that you see here. We've got our crypto USD, our Bitcoin USD, Forex equities futures indexes, and then we've got some stuff for foreigners, for dangerous foreigners down here, and special people. I'm looking at you, Ars Kicker. Sorry, it's a personal burn. Well, we have another thing that we offer, and that's our Pulse Pick updates. This is a shortened list of everything that DEX trades. And even from that list, you can then zero in on 5 or 6 things that you like to trade. Another thing that narrows the noise down for people is they'll choose just one type of thing that they like to trade, whether it's cryptos or Forex or equities. And then from that, narrow it down to a few favorites. So if you really are totally lost, you don't know what to do, very easy. You just use DEX's Pulse Picks. And those are available on the starter plan as well as the Pro and Platinum plan. And we update those almost every night. Sometimes we don't on Thursday because DEX has his Take Back Friday. But actually today we did. They are updated from last night. So, and Jen's been doing a great job posting these this week, by the way, for those of you who know our outstanding executive assistant, Jen. So very simple. You can narrow it down by looking for rally and crash alerts and analyzing the trend momentum, which we show you how to do. If that sounds intimidating to you, it literally takes seconds to do that. Very powerful tool. Or you could follow along with DEX's Pulse Picks, and then you can narrow it further by choosing your favorites from the Pulse Picks and just doing those. I have very limited time and attention to focus on things. I like to trade 1, 2, 3 different things at a time, and that's about it. So I like to keep it really simple. A lot of our Forex people, we have 3 pairs that are our favorites that we let people know about, and they focus on those Forex pairs only. So we help you figure out what to trade and how to get rid of that noise really quickly. So that's the first point. You need to filter out the noise and choose the best trades. Next, we always, in DEX, we mean always, well, almost always, like 99.99%. We always stop into a trade and we always stop out of a trade. Now, what do we mean by that? That's part of what we teach you at Pulse Wave Trading. Instead of just going in, placing orders, getting scared, selling, and just jumping around all day, we do a sort of, to some extent, I don't want to over exaggerate it, but to some extent, a set it and forget it kind of approach to placing orders. And notice I didn't say placing trades. When you're placing a stop order, it's not a trade. It's a potential trade. It's an order. And when you look at the Pulse Wave price triggers, which we're going to directly show you, I'm going to show you a price trigger and show you how to enter that order in just a second. When you look at the price triggers, what they're telling you is at this specific price, go long. At this specific price, go short. Did you catch that? So you've got, if it hits this price, you want to be long. If it hits this price, you want to be short. You want to sell short. And so what we do is many people the night when the price triggers come out or the morning before they go to work will actually place their orders and wait to see if those triggers are hit. That's why we call them triggers, because it triggers you into a trade. So let's look at that now. You're going to love this DEX. I've got a price trigger right here.
Wow.
Now
Look
in
at
real
you.
life, they're not that pretty. Maybe someday we'll have them look that pretty. But this is exactly the information you get on a price trigger. So this one is from our crypto, our Forex sheet, which I showed you guys earlier. It's this line right here, the Aussie dollar. And I just took the information and put it here. And this is what it boils down to. You have a buy trigger, you have a sell trigger, a rally alert, a crash alert, and a trend momentum reading. And the most important thing, Dex, what are the most important things out of this entire little price trigger here?
The price triggers.
The buy trigger and the sell trigger.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, if I were Dex, I wouldn't even care that much about the rest of this. I would mostly look at this. But many of our members are like me. We're neurotic psychopaths, and we want to get all the information that we could possibly find. So on this particular one, there's no rally alert, meaning there's nothing indicating that this is going to rally today. There's also no crash alert, which indicates that there's nothing really indicating. That was a terrible sentence. It's a crash alert, which shows that there's nothing really indicating a crash today. Nothing particular in the algorithm. Trend momentum, a negative 22 tells me this sucker is in a locked-in bear market at the moment. It's on its way down. Okay, so that tells me something. It tells me I might be a little bit more interested in the sell trigger if I'm interested in anything. But what many of our people do, and this is a very easy way to do this, is you could place a long order and place a short order. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me see if I could do this. I'm going to minimize this. Look at that. You guys didn't know I could do that, did you?
Working your camera magic.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Oh, yeah, cool. I can do it. All right. Bring this over here. And we'll... Oh, come on. Come on. There it is. So here's our buy trigger. Here's our sell trigger. And now I'm going to go into... This is a real trading interface with a real trading account. And so I'm going to clean some stuff off the screen just to make it go quicker. And I have selected already the Aussie dollar, which is the particular price trigger that we're looking at here. I'm going to get some of this stuff off the screen so we can look at it more carefully. And if I were trading this one, and the reason I picked this one is because it, as of the time that I made the slide, it had not triggered yet. So we're about to find out if if it's triggered yet. So the first thing I would do, trading this trigger really easily, I'm going to look at the top of the screen here. I'm going to go over the current daily candle, and I'm going to see if it has violated the price trigger. And the answer is high of the day. Oh, right. You know, this one hadn't violated when I set this trade up before.
And now it has.
Now it has. How annoying. All right. It has not violated the sell trigger. So that's the one that I'm going to focus on this one. So let me show you how simple it is to take a price trigger for the day. And am I on the right one? Let me see here. I'm looking at this. Am I looking at this right? 674. Yes, it did violate. It did swing high, and now it's come back to the center. So this one did not violate the sell trigger for the day. Oh no, it did. Crap. I had this all worked out, Dex. All right, we're gonna pretend it didn't.
Yeah, what happens is on your narrow range days, what happens is because the range is so tight and your entries become very limited and close together. Yeah. So you're looking to be triggered on both long and short. The only question is how much money is going to be on the table for you to capture either the long or the short. Generally, markets will pick and make a decision if it's going to move in the direction of the short or the long.
Exactly.
But there's one thing moving against you today, sir.
What's that, buddy? It's Friday.
It's Take Back Friday.
Yeah, this actually, it is currently pretty much at our sell trigger. It's waving right around it. So what I'm going to do, I said we always stop into a trade. And so I'm going to place this stop trade. It might get wonky because it's so close to the sell right now. And I'm going to just place a tiny little trade at this sell trigger.
And it's August.
And it's August.
I'm going to go. It's August, so it's thin. That's why the ranges are so narrow, because no one is home. Yeah. Everybody is taking the day off and enjoying their weekend. ahead of schedule. That's why I do not initiate new positions on a Friday.
Yeah. So just for example's sake, this one, if using our method, you wouldn't trade this. But for demonstration, let's pretend it didn't violate. And so here I think you'd actually be profitable if you did win short, a tiny little bit. You'd be profitable at the moment. So I'm going to set a stop order to go short, just slightly below where the price is right now. And in theory, I would use this sell trigger to go short. And my stop loss would be this buy trigger, which I put in here right there. And then I set a unit size of 100 just to give a little trade. And then I click submit. Let's see if it accepts it. It did. How wonderful. So here we have our order. And it's in there right there. We're good to go. So that's how simple it is. We chose a price trigger. We entered 2 or 3 numbers. And we hit order. And what we end up with is this active order. It's not yet an active trade. At this point, it's just an order. So just to recap where we've been, we filtered out the noise and chose a trade. We chose one of our favorite Forex pairs. That's one of the things that we do. We have a favorite 3, and the Aussie dollar, I believe, is one of them. We placed a stop order to get into the trade. That's what we just did now. Now, third, and I'm going to let Dex talk a little bit about this, we want to increase our probability of success. One of the things we do to increase our probability of success is we start by using the stop loss that is offered inside the price trigger itself. So if you're going short, this is one of the things, and if you're new to trading, if you haven't traded before, this is extremely important to understand that one of the most difficult things you have is learning how long you should stay in the trade, where you should set your stop loss. Because the stop loss is where you tap out. Your stop loss is where you say, I've been beaten down enough on this particular trade and I want out. Dex has built into the price triggers, built-in stop losses. And it's very simple. If you're selling short, your buy trigger is your starting stop loss. If you're buying long, your stop loss is your sell trigger to start off with. And if the trade just goes sideways, you just leave it alone like that. You don't even have to worry about it. You just let it go. You've already factored in the risk of that particular trade. And that's one of the key ways that you increase your probability of success is by not trading emotionally, but by using the system and going into it with an understanding of the particular risk that you have and letting the trade play out. Now, we're going to talk about what to do when the trade goes profitable in our next point. But Dex, at this point, you've placed your order. You've picked your trigger. Do you have any thoughts on how you would increase your probability of success other than not being emotional and tapping out too early or too, freaking out about it?
Well, basically, just like I said, you know coming into it for the day that the markets are going to behave and act a certain way. So you're not going to panic. You're not going to revenge trade. You're not going to overtrade. You're not going to do any of that. You're going to let the market come to you, and whatever's on the table on the long or short side, you're going to take what you can and give nothing back. It's just that simple. You don't revenge trade and you don't overtrade. You just don't do things like that. Make something happen in the market.
Can you talk about revenge? Can you talk about revenge trading for a second there, Dex? It's a great point. For new traders, I think those of us who've done it a while know what a revenge trade is intuitively.
Yeah, basically, revenge trading is when you've lost money, and usually it's a big loss, and you want to get it back. You want to earn it back. So you're trading and taking positions, trying to climb out of that hole. That's revenge trading, and the reason why that doesn't work because revenge trading also has characteristics of chasing markets. You're trying to force the market to do something that it's not ready to do, and that's an easy road to the poorhouse. So you don't do that.
Yeah.
If you've had a bad day, or then you shake it off and come back the next day. If you've had a bad trade, you shake that off and get ready to execute the next trade. Your breakthrough is always coming on the next trade. A lot of people fail because they get punched in the face a little bit, And instead of taking every trade, they miss out on that trade that would have got them at least back to break even, or better yet, into profit. So you cannot afford to miss trades, and you cannot afford to overtrade or revenge trade. None of that nonsense. That's not what we do here.
Absolutely.
We follow the system, follow the methodology, follow the rules, and let the market worry about making you the money. Making money is just a consequence of good trade execution.
Exactly. All right. While Dex was talking, I actually went long on something. Again, just for demonstration purposes. I have no idea where this is going to go. But let's make believe. That's why I have this account. Spend real money so that I could lose it in front of people by showing them stuff. Brings us to our final little point here about how to profit from volatility. And that is we use the POP method to manage active trades. Price triggers are literally invaluable. But if you don't know how to manage a profitable trade, now just doing steps 1 through 3 and following the system, it can limit some losses because you're using the stops on the sheet. But if you're in an active trade and it's profitable, what do you do with it then? And one of the benefits of pulse wave trading is we give you a tool. We teach you how to use it. We show you how to use it step by step. Extremely easy. We show you how to set up your charts. We show you exactly what to do when you have an active trade. And we call it the POP method because it gives you your pulse out price. It's kind of like you're like piecing out of a trade. This is pulsing out of a trade.
I like it.
Piece out, like as a guy from Napoleon Dynamite would say. So I've got, let me give this full screen so it's not as torturous to look at for people. So right here, while Dex was talking, I got into the USD JPY, the dollar yen. And I don't know where I entered. Let's look. And now I have an active trade. And let's see, my profit on it is negative 1.1 pips. So I'm down just a little bit for this trade. Let's pretend that I got in here. I'm going to go full screen on this. Hold on a second, guys. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that the price triggers got me in when it hit right here, 106.23. And I wake up the next morning and, oh my goodness, I'm all the way up here. I'm up a bunch of pips. I've got some profit on my account. What am I going to do now? Am I going to text Dex in the Slack room? I can, of course. And we encourage that especially for new people who don't know what's going on. You can send him a message. I'm in a trade. It's wonderful. What should I do? But one thing we teach you, so that whether you're, relaxing on a beach somewhere with your iPhone, checking your active trades, or you're in the office, like a hawk watching that trade all day, you can figure out what to do with it right away. So me personally, there's a couple of different ways that I could do this, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm just going to show you how easy it is. Using the POP method, I can set my own stop loss price to get me stopped out in profit within seconds. And I've already seen a couple of options. I actually have multiple options. I actually, oh my goodness, Dex, I didn't put one of our indicators on here, but that's okay because I like the ones that are up. We show you, by the way, all this stuff. You got all these crazy indicators that they offer you. Pulse wave trading, we use 3, and we show you exactly how to set them up and what you use them for. And really, they're just there to help you figure out stop losses. So on this particular trade, I'm just going to click the edit button, and my pulse out price, where I'm going to set my stop loss, has already been determined. And so I'm going to set that here. And I don't want to show you guys specifically because I don't want to show you how I did it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But easy answer is, while we were talking, while I was distracted and talking to the rest of you, I found 2 different options and was able quickly to choose from them and decide where my stop loss was. And we show every one of our members how to do that using the POP method. Extremely powerful, extremely easy to use.
Now, you're not showing your screen. I don't see anything, right?
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to show them the final step.
Okay.
It's too precious, man. So yeah, I just didn't want to show it. So let me get back to. Hold on.
Isn't that selfish of you though, not to share and share alike?
All right,
Nothing better than free consulting.
Yeah, right. All right, so that's about it. And you see the price triggers set themselves on both sides of the market, so you can go long and short using the same price trigger at the same time and see which one works. Now, there's always potential for whipsawing where you would get stopped out of both, but I mean that's about trading with risk capital. What's even better is sometimes you can even profit from both. Sometimes on the same day, something moves fast enough. It depends on your personal trading strategy. So let's talk really briefly, and then we're going to take some questions. I see people are in the comments taking questions, in the live chat, giving questions. Let's talk really quickly about what price triggers are. First of all, they represent a comprehensive strategy. So the thing with the price triggers, they're based on Dex's own custom-made algorithm that he's been working on for 20 plus years. Takes into account any kind of trading. So if you read an article tomorrow that says this is the best trading strategy, it's in there. And then the next day you'll read another article that says, no, this is the best trading strategy. All right, fine. It's already in there. If you're using the pulse waves, you're already using the best trading strategy because it incorporates data that gets fed into the system from all of those strategies every day. So it's a comprehensive strategy. So you don't have to say, oh, well, I like to do, reversal trades, or I'm an Elliott wave person. All that stuff is factored into the pulse waves. It produces daily reports. And so all that information that goes into Dex's algorithm spits out a report that we produce every school night. So Sunday through Thursday, between 9:30 and 10:30 Eastern, we publish these beautiful reports that I was showing you earlier. And so, for example, this is a platinum account. So this one has 8 pulse price trigger reports in it. Our starter account has a few less, but still very, very valuable. Probably too good. You get those reports every night, and you could place your orders in most cases before the market's open, depending on what it is you're trading, based on extensive data libraries. And what we give you is a system. I mean, you saw what I did. I took that trigger. I knew exactly what to do with it, and then I knew how to manage it if it went live. That's all you're really doing. I like to summarize it this way in terms of what a pulse waiver does. A pulse waiver chooses a trade from the price trigger reports. That's up to you. We can help you if you feel overwhelmed. Place orders, stop orders, because we always stop into a trade. We always stop out of a trade. We let the market come to us instead of emotionally trading and trying to lock in profits. We use the price triggers to get in, and we use one of two things to get out: either the stop that's on the original price trigger or the pop method. And that's it. Use the pop method to lock in profits and limit downside. And if you join today, regardless of what membership you have with Pulse Wave Trading, you get access to the price trigger sheets. Look at our plans. They have different levels, but you get a ton of value regardless of which plan you choose. You get access to our complete fast track video series where we show you how to set up your charts, which brokerages to use, how to use a pop method, how to choose your trades, how to take a price trigger report and turn it into an order, and then how to manage it when it becomes active. You can trade what you want. There are literally thousands, depending on what if you're pro or starter, thousands of things that we trade, and we do take requests. So if there's something in there that we don't trade, you let us know. We'll let you know if we can add it to the report or not. Most cases we can and do. And then we have our weekly pulse picks. That's where you can follow exactly what Dex is doing. Capital requirements for crypto is very low. You can basically open a crypto account for free, and then you add to it what you want. Opening a Forex account with Oanda, again, you can open the account. You don't even have to fund it, but you can fund it with as little as a few bucks. If you want to trade equities, if you want to trade stocks or futures or anything like that, you need $3,500 to open a Thinkorswim account and abide by the pattern day trade rules, depending on how big your account is. So those are your basics. You don't have to maintain $3,500 in that account, but you do need that to open it. So very easy to get started with cryptos and Forex. That's one thing that we put out there. You can start with very little while you're learning the system. So we've got 3 plans. We've got our starter plan that gives you, actually, this is an old image. It gives you 4 price trigger sheets. The 2 crypto sheets, the Forex and the equities. It gives you access to everything that I just talked about, Fast Track video series. And how could I forget our Slack chat? where you can access me, you can access Dex, access anybody from our team, as well as our entire pulse waving community, which is a really big part of what we do. As soon as you join, you click a link and you're right into that Slack chat, and it's a really great community, great group of people. You can upgrade to Pro. Yeah, you got to upgrade all over the world. Upgrade to Pro, and you actually get 8+ price trigger sheets. And I say 8+ because Dex is always adding stuff. So you add the futures and the indexes as well as the foreign equities. And then with Platinum, you add one-on-one. You can get some one-on-one sessions with Dex and myself once a month. And that's the thing. If you're into crypto, and we know so many of you are, if you're into crypto, we've got discounts for extended memberships. And we encourage you to take advantage of these. The value is enormous. So you can do a starter 3-month, a pro 3-month. The most thing, I really need to remove that recommended sticker because the Platinum 6-month is a ridiculous value. It's almost 25% off. So that's that. All right, let's take some questions. Let's go here. I'm getting into these comments now. I'm way behind on the comments. Little off topic, but I like it. I would love to hear what you guys, and I'm going to stop tangents, so nobody get mad if I interrupt X or V. This is from Mark Benjamin. Do you think the $1,000 freedom dividend could help America?
No.
Let me read the question.
Go.
From Andrew Yang via VAT Tax or Tech. Would like V's opinion. What do you guys think?
Dex, you want to go
Andrew
first?
Yang's idea.
No, I'll let V go first.
No, it's not going to help America at all. It's freedom dividend is another fancy way of putting of calling it a universal basic income, or UBI.
Yeah,
it's been tried in Finland. It's failed miserably. Doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not some sort of new idea. The idea of a universal basic income actually goes back to the 1780s. So that idea has been floated around. Recently, it's been tried in Finland. It's failed miserably. They pulled the product. They've tried it in cities. I forgot which city in California. I don't know if it's Stockton or somebody else, where they're giving people below the poverty line $1,000 a month. And what it doesn't do anything. It incentivizes you to stay broke. And this is my message.
I mean, we already have welfare.
There's already welfare, right? So
massive amounts of welfare.
My message to Americans is this: look, everybody's got to hustle. All right, everybody's got to hustle. Now, if you go into the city, I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but I know in the big cities, especially in New York, Chicago, L.A., D.C., I can go into the poorest neighborhoods, right? And they're on average getting anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000 in benefits. $50,000 to $70,000. It's incentivized to have kids. They're incentivized to have kids out of wedlock.
Oh my goodness!
Just in New York alone, which is a model of what this social utopia dream could be, or in California, which is also a model. What happens is that you have a massive amount of people that get together, and there's no incentive, there's no initiative for them to work. Now, Yang would say things like, "Well, this is for automation." Let me explain something to you. $1,000 a month in your pocket, it ain't going to do much for you if your job's been taken away by automation. Because $1,000 a month, it's really nothing. It disappears. It's chump change. You don't need $1,000 a month. What you need to do is you need to create income streams where you're making $10,000 a month. And the message from me has always been: look, once you get to middle class, you better fight like there's no tomorrow to get out of middle class. And I'm not saying go out there and try to become a millionaire. I'm just saying, you need to get into the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, and that's a very comfortable place to be. And this is why I always preach that. I always preach, hey, if you're in your 40s, you're still using personal credit, you ain't doing it right. I preach the power of utilizing LLCs and corporations to your benefit. I always preach to my clients, to my people, hey, you know what? Learn how to get funding, learn how to use other people's money. And I'm talking about institutional money that's available to you to get ahead. That's the key here. Yang's thing is not going to do nothing except tax us even more. Where's that $1,000 a month going to come from? Ain't no such thing as a free lunch. It's got to come from somewhere.
It's coming from you and going to you.
Exactly.
It's a net loss. Yeah.
It's an insane.
One thing I like about Yang is that he's ringing the alarm bell on what's really about to happen with low skilled workers.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and if you low skilled, not only that, but to bring up an extremely controversial
Absolutely.
topic, low IQ workers, which we have an abundance of. And this is something
How dare you?
Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot. You've got a lot of people who are really not qualified to do anything, and it really is a problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, culture has to figure out what to do with it. But Yang's solution is highly suspect.
Back
All
in
right.
the day, we had things called shovel-ready jobs. We don't even have that no more. Why? Because thanks to the promises and the swan song, the siren song of globalization, we've outsourced so many things. There are low-skilled people and low-skilled and or low IQ individuals that can. Guess what? Hey, you're not a rocket. You can't cut it in high school. You can't cut it in college. Hey, guess what? There's manual labor jobs that pay well, that you can make a living, a good living doing it. But that's been outsourced, man.
Yeah. Instead, we tell everybody go spend $100,000 on college to the kid who can barely read.
Really
and then he gets special help through college. Still doesn't have the intelligence to and I mean literal intelligence to use the skills that he or she are learning in college.
Yep.
It's a nightmare. Dex, do you think it's going to be? He's talking about Bitcoin, 9K, 10K, maybe even 7 for the next few months. Dex, what's your current thoughts on Bitcoin?
Well, my thoughts on the Bitcoin are longer term oriented. I believe that Bitcoin, when it comes to Bitcoin, you have not seen the highs.
Yep.
However, I do believe that the significant pullback that I warned people about, it's pretty much done it.
Mm-hmm.
Can it go lower, though? The answer is yes. And when I say lower, it could drop to possibly below 4,000. But it would take some doing for that to happen.
Hey,
Meaning that the U.S. equity rally would have to continue throughout the rest of this year and past the first quarter of 2020.
Well, Dex, I forgot to mention this to you and totally forgot. It escaped me. I talked about this yesterday on my Patreon group.
Oh, okay.
Check this out. The last several years, and I mentioned this years ago, I talked about the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are like, what the hell is the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund? Most people don't know Norway is one of the most wealthiest countries on the planet. They're an oil kingpin. The majority of the sovereign wealth that is acquired in Norway goes predominantly to its citizenry, and the sovereign wealth fund is something that was being courted by both Wall Street and the City of London.
Mm-hmm.
It's announced that the Norwegian sovereign wealth fund is looking to divest out of their European investments and get more into the U.S. Now, people don't realize this, dude. This is a $1 trillion fund. It is the most wealthiest fund on the planet. So they're coming over to the U.S. So what does that mean for an equities rally? Massive.
See, there you go. And you know what, folks? It doesn't matter if you believe it or not, but it is true. We don't rehearse before we come on and do these webinars. Most of the time, we don't even get the time to even touch base and talk with each other before we do the webinar. We just jump on. Oh, it's time to be on. Let's go on. So I had no idea that that was the case, and that you shared that with your group the other day.
Yep.
So, but it's factual, folks. See, there are things though that can derail it, like with this trade war continuing. If the trade war continues on the course that it's currently on, it's going to devastate the equity run, and it's going to put pressure on the commodities as well. What we're seeing is kind of unprecedented where we are right now, and let me explain it by saying it like this. Okay, so commodity futures, as you know, futures products, are there for a reason. They're there to serve, the producers and the manufacturers. All right, so Farmer Brown, he grows his corn, right? And he's very proud of his stalks of corn that he grows. However, General Mills likes his corn too. They want to buy his corn, so they can make cornmeal and cornbread and other things that they make. And they love using Farmer Brown's corn to do that. So the speculator comes in between the two of them and absorbs that risk, because that's why it's called futures. See, General Mills needs to lock in a certain price, hopefully a really cheap price, with the idea that in the future, let's say the next 3 months, the corn prices are going to go up. So they lock in with Mr. Farmer Brown to buy his at, let's say, $4 a bushel. Speculator comes in and adds liquidity to that market. Speculate futures is one of the few markets where speculators are absolutely needed, and the market was created around the speculators for that reason, to provide liquidity to the markets. So commodities are affected by other things that equities are not. With futures, commodity futures, you're looking at storage fees and interest rates. All right, those do affect the prices of commodities, as well as the strength or weakness of the country's currency. All right, so those factors go into it. We're unprecedented because China is like our biggest client when it comes to our exportation of soybeans. All right, they buy a lot from us, but because of the trade war, they're like, we're not touching your beans. Now what you gonna do? They're gonna rot in
We're not
silos.
touching your beans. I need to
That's
get that
right.
out as a soundbite. I'm going to use that as a soundbite. We're not touching your beans.
So that's going to really hurt the economy. It's going to hurt the farmer. Okay, so the farmer's already crying out, saying, President Trump, you need to do something. You need to fix this. This trade war is going to kill us. We can't have this. Harvest season is right around the corner. What are you going to do about it? So you have that going on. Then you have the trade war, and then you have the currency wars. You don't hear too much about the currency wars anymore because of the trade war, but the currency wars are bubbling hot underneath the surface. All right, just days ago, China weakened its currency again, manipulated its currency on purpose to respond and retaliate to the trade tariffs put on by the U.S. So the tariffs are going to hurt manufacturers. So it's going to hurt our import-export relationships, which will filter down throughout the economy. In addition to that, the interest rate situation is also putting a toll on people. The traditional means of moving money around has changed dramatically because of the breakdown of market correlations, such as when the equity market is rallying to new highs, bond markets or the bond prices are crashing. All right. And as the bond prices are crashing, the yields are going up. All right. And that's how people are making their money, with the interest rate game, going out into further, to assuming from further risk down the line with the hopes that these interest rates will continue to climb. And, in your shorter term, interest products, they're going to be lower. But then we got these inverted yield curves that have now come in and making it so that you're going to get more of a yield on like a 2-year note than you will on a 30-year bond. And it's not supposed to be that way. So you got the breakdown of market correlations because of continued meddling and the failed management and intervention of the Federal Reserve and all the other central banks. So it used to be that bonds and precious metals were a safe haven when the stock market was crashing. And now, because we're in a new digital age, we have cryptocurrencies, i.e. Bitcoin, right? So traditionally, you would say, well, if the equity market's going to pull back here soon, I'm going to throw my money in precious metals. I'm going to throw my money in the Bitcoin and I'll be fine. But not so fast because of government interference and manipulation. They're coming in now. They've been setting on gold and silver for the longest of times. It's a miracle that gold and silver has broken out the way it has, but it's really not breaking out the way it should, though.
Yeah.
Because traditionally, gold and silver, when it breaks out and rallies, it will be mind-boggling. I've seen gold move $100 in 2 minutes. I've seen silver jump $5. in a day. All right. That's a huge movement. We're not really seeing that. We're seeing like slow trickling of effect. Like there's some hidden hand trying to keep all the markets afloat, if you will. So it's trying to keep Bitcoin and the precious metals from exploding, while at the same time, with this balancing act, trying to keep the equity market afloat and not correcting and crashing like it normally would. So we're in unprecedented territory. But I do think that at the end of the day, Bitcoin is going to be nearly priceless, along with gold and silver, precious metals, and the cryptocurrencies, and the of course the gold miners. That sector is going to explode on the benefit of the rise in gold prices. So that's down the line, though. That's not tomorrow. That's not next week. That's down the line. So that is my prognosis down the line for the markets.
All right, we're going to wrap up. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Real quick before you go, check out our Twitter. It's at PulseWave Trades. At PulseWave Trades. I put these in the whatchamacallit, in the live chat, so you can grab them there. And then we have our Facebook, PulseWave Trading. And then most important, folks, none of this matters if you don't take action. How many times have I said this? You could hear all day about how powerful the PulseWave trading system is, but if you don't pull the trigger and join and take a few minutes to go through the fast track series and start using those price triggers, it does nothing for you. You could just sit there and think of yourself as being very well informed and very smart, and you're going to stick it to the man someday, and you're going to take the bull by the horns and all of that. It doesn't matter unless you actually get moving, you get learning, and you start making decisions. So join us. We've got our starter, our pro, and our platinum. We've got our extended Bitcoin, especially if you've been a long-term member. You really need to upgrade one of those. It saves you a ton of money. You're going to be with us anyway. Spend the money. All right, folks, we love you. And that's it for today. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Dex. Thank you, V.
No problem.
Yes.
All right. We're out, folks. Thanks for watching.
Peace.